Welcome back to That's Unfortunate. It's book club day.
Woohoo!
As you may know, we're doing Sunrise on the Reaping. I have 9 pages of notes that I took meticulously. I did just like read and type random sentences.
Yeah.
So it might sound choppy, I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Did you like it?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I liked it way better than A Bout of Songbirds and Snakes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's because I really like Hamish.
Yeah. Same. I really like Hamish too.
And Woody Harrelson. So I was just imagining. I wasn't imagining a 16-year-old boy the whole time. I was just imagining a middle-aged Woody Harrelson. No, not always, but some of the times.
That's funny.
Okay, so if you don't know, this was the prequel to the Hunger Games series. So it's based on Hamish's games. So we open up and it's Reaping Day, and it's also his birthday, which is really sad. They didn't tell us that in the movies or the first books, but every year on his birthday is Reaping Day. It's terrible. And of course, we're in the games, so we know all these people are going to die.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting, going into the book, just knowing.
Starting off, yeah. I was like trying not to like any of the characters, so I wouldn't be sad, because I knew they were all going to die.
Yeah, and she does a good job of still making you like kind of fall in love with these characters that you know are going to die.
Mm-hmm. Which is so sad.
It's so sad.
But at least you know Hamish stays alive.
Yeah.
But also maybe
one thing.
sad too, because then he just is a drunk.
Yeah. Oh, so sad. So, opens up, it's his birthday. All he wants to do is just see his girlfriend, Lenore Dove. And he calls her like his girl.
Yeah.
It's cute, you know. He also sneaks into the woods to brew white liquor for work, which is illegal. And that really reminded me of like Katniss sneaking into the woods to hunt, like a parallel there. That's another common theme in this book, is like all the parallels were crazy. Hattie, she's the older lady he works for, gives him like a little small bottle for his birthday, and he thinks to himself, I'm not a drinker myself, which was super sad, because as we know, he drinks really heavily in the books. So, you know, he didn't drink before this, even though he brewed it.
Yeah, but he was like, I've got other things to do.
Yeah.
Like hang out with my girl.
Yeah. We're introduced to Burdock Everdeen, which I was like, Everdeen? Okay, so we realize that's Katniss's dad, and they're best friends, which I never knew, and I don't think I saw that in the original books at all, unless I missed something.
I'm assuming that was just added in.
Yeah. But it's a nice little mention of Katniss. Kind of cool. We get like a glimpse into how Hamish met Lenore Dove, like a little scene. They do like a little flashback kind of. She's described with red hair. She's from the Covey, like how Lucy Gray.
Thank you, Lucy Gray.
Gosh, I don't know why I couldn't remember.
I literally just watched that, so that's embarrassing.
You know what I was imagining at the end of the movie when Snow's going, Lucy Gray. I was seeing that scene in my head, but I couldn't remember what he was screaming.
Yeah.
Unhinged.
It didn't take him much to snap, did it?
No. So yeah, she's from the Covey like Lucy Gray. He says she's like all the Covey, music in her blood, but not like them too, and less interested in pretty melodies, more in dangerous words. So we can assume she's about to be a little rebel badass. Yeah. Then we're introduced to Astrid March, and I'm like, who dat? And then we realize it's Katniss's mom.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, I never knew Katniss's mom's name, I guess.
They say it. Well, I haven't read the books, but in the movies.
Never heard that in my life. Maybe because she's kind of irrelevant to me.
She's also not very relevant in this either. No. Like, she's kind of in the beginning and the end.
They just, you know, there's a lot of like, I don't know, like odes to the original Hunger Games in this. But Astrid March, she is known as the beauty of District 12, and Burdock is obsessed with her. They're not together yet or anything. It's just like another bit of lore. I was surprised that it wasn't mentioned in the original series, or like in the Hunger Games series. Like, you would think Haymitch would have told Katniss, like,
I knew your parents.
I knew your parents. Or something.
Well, but she wrote this after, right?
I know, but...
So she just decided that it would be cute, and she just thought Haymitch is a drunk in his old age, so
yeah,
nobody will think anything else of it.
But I feel like there's some things that she, like, thought ahead with.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I don't know.
We'll get to it. Or maybe, like, those storylines just worked out better, you know?
Yeah. I'm sure it was, like, kind of hard to write a prequel to something that
detailed,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting and cool, though.
Yeah, very.
I wonder how many more I missed, because...
Well, I got some stuff. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then I wrote here, like, but maybe it wasn't that big of a deal. And everyone just knew that in 12. And, you know, I don't know. But they're at the Reaping, and it's the second quarter quell, which is basically every 25 years they celebrate the games with a quarter quell, which adds, like, a new twist to the games that often makes it more unpredictable and brutal to showcase the Capitol's power. They also make the arenas, like, a little more brutal than normal. And then I wrote down what the other ones were just as a refresher. The first quarter quell, the districts voted on their tributes. So they picked their own people to send to die. The second one, which was Haymitch, doubled the amount of victors, or double the amount of tributes. And then the third, from the Hunger Games, tributes were voted from the existing pool of victors. And what that made me think of was how that first one, when the districts voted on their tributes, I don't know who won those, but how awkward for them to come back to their district.
Whoever won. Well, it was only one of them.
Yeah, but they're like, you motherfuckers voted me to go die.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Maybe that'll be her next prequel.
Maybe.
I feel like she could literally write a book about every single one.
She could have
easily
so many more books. Like 50 more books. It's crazy.
Well, if you do one per game.
Yeah.
73 more.
73 more. Yeah.
72 more.
She's set for life.
And I would read every single one of them.
I sure would.
Especially if they all, like, intermingled and she did it sporadic.
Yeah.
I would read all of them as they came out, and then once she was done, I would read them all in order.
Same. Hell yeah.
Too much.
So they're picking 2 girls and 2 boys this year instead of just one like normal.
Did they know that before they went to the Reaping, or they found that out at the Reaping? Do you remember?
I think he knew because he explained it to us like while he was on his way there or something.
Okay.
So they call both girls, and neither are his girls. So he's like happy. He's like, oh, thank God. Then they call both boys, and neither are him. And I'm like, oh, thank God. I'm like, how? And I'm sitting there like, wait, what?
Obviously not.
How are we getting here?
Yeah.
But the second boy who was called is like part of a family known for being like rebellious and getting killed for it or arrested. Well, he decides to run away, and the peacekeepers shoot him in the head. And it's kind of a gruesome scene. There's blood everywhere. He talks about how he can like see his brains or something.
Yeah. Blood on other people.
They're trying to get everything back in order, and they say it's like a 5-minute delay, so they're going to have to draw another name. And they're trying to get everyone who's bloody like out of the shot of the camera. Because, you know, they're trying to keep everybody in the dark all the time about everything, basically. The kid who got shot's mom is like hugging his dead body and crying for him. They're trying to take him away, and she's freaking out. And Lenore Dove steps in and is trying to help her, and the peacekeepers are like grabbing her too, and things are getting like out of hand. And then Haymitch gets up from where they were making everybody kneel and runs to her. The peacekeeper hits him on the head with their gun, and then the lady is like, actually, I found my replacement. And uses
what's your name?
Haymitch instead of drawing a new name, and just like pretends to draw a name and reads it.
Write his name on something really fast.
And then at that moment, she's like, because of what you did, like your punishment, even though I'm sending you to your death, you can't say bye to your family. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Also, before that was like kind of some birthday things where like he sold his bottle of liquor to somebody so that he could then go buy some candy for Lenore.
Mm-hmm.
And then before he left for the reaping, his mom asked him to fill up the water thing, cistern.
Yeah.
How do you say that? I don't know.
Something
like that. And he was like, I'm going to go spend a few extra minutes with my love, Lenore Dove.
Yeah.
Before. So he like went to the reaping with some unfinished business. And then the candy, he like handed it to his brother somehow as he was running. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, he like handed it to him like before he got
His
on the
brother
train or
was like,
something to
make
give
sure you
it to
give
Lenore.
it to,
Yeah. Plutarch's there.
Mm-hmm.
Randomly. He's kind of like
He's the videographer
guy
mm-hmm.
for District 12 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I'm noticing some parallels to Katniss. And I wrote just a few of them down. Haymitch sneaking into the woods, him having a little brother, his father dying,
Mm-hmm.
Him putting his name in extra times to feed his family, which, I guess everybody does that. But
Mm-hmm.
Katniss didn't get to say goodbye to her family in the third quarter quell, just like Haymitch, we're assuming at that moment, isn't going to get to in the second quarter quell.
Mm-hmm.
They end up letting him say goodbye, but only after Plutarch makes his mom and brother reenact the way that they felt over and over again when he got raped, wanting like a bigger reaction every time to get clips for the show, which like kind of made me nauseous.
Mm-hmm.
That was
fucked up.
Weird.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, now cry.
Mm-hmm.
Now like throw yourself on the ground or something. Ugh, it's gross. So yeah, and then at that point he gives his little brother the gumdrops to give to Lenore.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had taken her away.
Say bye. Yeah. So. He's assuming she's gonna get killed, but
yeah.
I don't. They didn't kill her.
Well,
right
no. So as the train pulls away, hours later, they like rush them, wouldn't let them say bye, and then the train just let him say bye for
10 seconds, and then he's just sitting on the train.
Yeah. As it's pulling away, he sees Lenore Dove standing on the ridge in like the pouring rain, screaming and clutching the gumdrops he got her, which was a pretty powerful scene. Reading it, I don't know, it was pretty cool.
So he knows she's alive.
Yeah, and she's free basically.
Didn't say bye, but saw her scream.
Yeah. And he's like happy that Plutarch couldn't get that reaction on camera. So that was cool. They're on the train on the way, and he goes over to one of the girls that was raped, and we find out it's a 13-year-old girl that lived a few houses down from him, Luella. They talk and hold hands, and he says, "So are you going to be my ally or what, sweetheart?" My heart.
When he said sweetheart.
Sweetheart. He calls Katniss sweetheart, and it's so cute. It was perfect. Like, shot me right in the fucking chest. Okay. We find out where Katniss's Mockingjay pin came from. The twin sisters, Maisley, she's one of the tributes. The other twin's not there. But Maisley's there. Were given 2 pure gold pins by their fathers, made by Tam Amber, who's part of the Covey. I think one was a Mockingjay and one was a hummingbird. Interesting. They just like, hey, you want to know where that came from? Surprise. So there's some stuff there. We're basically just like getting to the games. They go to the tribute center. They're chained up the whole time. They get blasted with water, soap, and a pesticide. So it's like way different than kind of how we saw years later when Katniss was getting groomed.
Waxed. Plucked.
Yeah. And they like didn't rinse them off good enough, so their hair's like sticky with the pesticide. It's weird.
Did we meet anybody else on the train? Like, do we meet his mentors yet, or?
No, we haven't met the mentors yet.
Okay.
He talks to the other boy that's reaped.
Yeah. And then it's just like the lady that called the names, Drusilla.
Yeah, Drusilla.
And Plutarch.
And Plutarch, yeah. Those are the only ones there at the moment. Maybe probably some guards or something. But So then they get to like where they're going to get on the carriages. and they get the same costumes that they get every year, which it was mentioned in the Hunger Games. They're just like coal miner costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Comments keep getting made that they're like forgettable. They won't really get any sponsors
Mm-hmm.
because 12 sucks or whatever. They get into the carriages and like the horses are acting kind of weird, and it seems like they still don't have all the wrinkles ironed out in the games. Like it seems kind of chaotic
Mm-hmm.
versus what
Katniss.
Katniss's games
Yeah.
seemed like so meticulously put together,
Mm-hmm.
and this could be why. Um, they start going, and the Capitol crowd's like going crazy. They're like drunk, half naked, making lewd gestures at the tributes and screaming at them. It's like super unsettling. Someone shoots a firework in front of one of the horses, and the horses freak out and they start running and they crash into another chariot. And he reaches for Luella because she's like kind of standing in front of him a little bit. They've got the four of them on there
Mm-hmm.
on that one carriage, just from 12. And she's reaching for him too, like as they're about to crash. Well, they crash, and he feels blood, and he's like happy he's dying,
Mm-hmm.
so he could die before like they can kill him in the games. But then he realizes it's not his blood; it's Luella's,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like cracked her skull on the pavement, and she's dead, gone
Mm-hmm.
and dead, which is kind of sad because he was,
Her sweetheart.
he was up until that point, like every time they had an interaction, it was really sweet and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But very sad. He realizes that the people are going to come get her body, and he scoops her up and like runs towards Snow's mansion. He hops on another chariot right as it's about to take off and rides it to Snow's mansion and lays her dead body right in front of his mansion and starts to like clap, like applaud.
Mm-hmm.
Him giving, and it says it was him giving credit where credit is due because he feels that Snow's responsible, which he
Mm-hmm.
obviously is. He sees himself on the screen, but is thinking the cameras are probably cut off when the horses bolted. But I was hoping people had seen that. But
Mm-hmm.
there is a 5-minute delay, so. What a little
But
rebel.
Snow saw it.
Yes, Snow saw it. He was standing like up on his balcony, is what I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what a little rebel. That felt very Katniss like. But that was sad that she died. Already. I wasn't expecting it that
I
soon.
know. And I also was wondering, like, oh gosh, are they going to go call another name now? Like, what are they going to do with that?
Right, yeah. I was like,
They're just going to have 3 people.
I was wondering how they were going to, like,
Yeah.
write her off, basically.
And
but,
the people on the other chariot, like, they were all injured or something.
yeah, a bunch of people got injured.
Then I was like, well, somebody else is probably not going to be alive.
Yeah. Which, how inconvenient to get injured before you have to go fight for your life.
Right.
What the heck? We at this point they're still like not sure who their mentors are going to be. Since no one's ever won in 12, they're going to give them people who won from other districts, and they get back to where like they're staying at the tribute center, and in walks Wyrus and Mags, which we remember from Katniss's games. And they're really sweet, and Mags like hugs Haymitch and he cries over Luella, so it's really sad. Then they end up in the training area, and we meet Beetee, which is, also one of the victors in this. I don't know what games he won, but
first we meet
he's in the 75th.
Beetee's son.
Yeah, well, first we meet Beetee's son, and he's like, go over there and talk to my dad.
Yeah, my dad wants to meet you.
Yeah.
He says, you want to be allies? Also,
Yeah.
my dad wants to meet you.
Yeah. And they have like this plan to be allies with everybody who's not a career. So apparently Beetee was like causing some trouble at some point, and they can't kill him. So they reaped his own son into the games this year, and he's having to coach his own death in the 50th Hunger Games, like as punishment for coming up with a plan to sabotage the Capitol's like communication system. So that sucks. Very sad. On their way back from training, they stop the van and make Haymitch get out. And Plutarch is there, and he says Snow changed his mind about his performance of him laying Luella down. We go inside Plutarch's home, and they talk for a while. Then Snow comes in. He's like throwing up and bleeding from his mouth and struggling. he makes Plutarch leave the room to get him some bread, and we find out he's poisoned the parade guy with oysters because of what happened. And then he tells Haymitch he's going to have to die in the games either way because of his behavior. Tells him how he dies is based on how he acts for the remainder of the time.
Also, Haymitch drinks his milk.
Yeah.
He asks for milk off of the bar cart, and like Plutarch runs to go, and he tells Haymitch to like quickly go get it, and so Haymitch is like, I'm gonna drink your milk.
Drank all his milk.
And Plutarch just doesn't tell Snow that he knows that he drank the milk. He's like, it's always full, but
it's crazy. I'll go get some more.
I'll get some out of the library study, another room.
Which is Haymitch just being a little rebel again.
Yeah.
And it's kind of implied that that's the antidote. It's like bread and milk. For whatever poison he put in the oysters or whatever. And, you know, they talk about it in the Hunger Games that that's Snow's way of killing people a lot is poison. Through poison. And that's why he's like bleeding from the mouth.
And dying at the end.
And dying at the end, which this is 25 years before.
Yeah.
And he seems like he's dying here.
Well, his very first poisoning was when he was 18 or 19.
Yeah, who did he
poison? Because he poisons, I don't know, his professor. Who's Peter Dinklage in that? I don't know.
So tells him how he dies is based on how he acts the remainder of the time. Basically says like, your family can live. I won't mess with them, but you're gonna have to die. Guess who walks in? Luella. Dead Luella. But she's someone else that they like tortured and reprogrammed and I'm assuming like did some plastic surgery on to make her look like Luella. And Snow says, you have to pretend that she's her and coach her and be her ally for the cameras until she dies. Which is so messed up.
Haymitch is kind of like, I don't like her.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
I don't want that. And also she's messed up. Whatever they did. It kind of feels like kind of what they did to PETA when they hijacked him in the end. She's like got something in her ear, which we're assuming is like some kind of device that they're listening through, so they have to be careful what they say around her. She's got something in her chest that's like
a pump.
Pumping drugs into her. And she's like repeating stuff. She's being crazy. But so Beatty and Haymitch at this point have talked a couple of times about how to break the arena. They want to basically, you know, mess up the games. Kind of like how Katniss shot the arrow through the force field in the 75th. That's kind of what they're wanting to do here. And like Haymitch was like kind of giving off like the first Mockingjay vibes here. There's a lot of discussion on that. And when they get ready for the interviews, when they figure out they don't have any clothes for them because the guy who's clothing them keeps getting high off licking frogs and stuff. One of the like stylists calls her sister up to bring him some clothes. Guess who it is? Effie. Effie Trinket. So we're getting so many people. And maybe that's why I like this one better than The Ballad of Songbird and Snakes, because I'm getting so many throwbacks. So they make the allies with those 9 other districts while the careers team up together. They do the interviews, and Haymitch goes with like this rascal approach. Because a lot of the capital people did see him run up and lay Luella down. It's just the people in the districts didn't get to see it because they cut the footage. And then Plutarch pulls him aside at some point, like maybe on the way back from the interviews. He like gets him out of the car and lets him in his house or something again. And he lets him talk to Lenore Dove on the phone so he can get him to trust him, because Plutarch's being a little shady at times. He's like acting like he wants to be a rebel as well. He's like trying to get him to break the arena, but Haymitch is thinking he can't trust him because what if he's just trying to get him to give him the plan that him and Beatty are coming up with. But he tells Haymitch that the Mutt portals which is what him and Beatty decided he needed to do, was go into the mud portals and go down there and try to flood the arena basically, or the generator or whatever's running it. And he tells him that the mud portals are like possibly hidden under groups of flowers, and he can go down there and find the water tank and like explode it, I guess. He has replaced a few of the tribute's tokens, like Beatty has, with the things he'll need to rig an explosion on the side of the water tank. So he also has to get their tokens off of them when they die. Kind of like how Katniss had her Mockingjay pin. Each tribute can take one thing into the arena with them, like a bracelet or a necklace or whatever.
We didn't talk about what Lenore gave Haymitch for his birthday.
Oh, yeah. Before we left, Lenore gave Haymitch a little necklace for his birthday, which is what he uses.
It ends up being a flint striker.
And it's shaped like what's on the front of the book. And so he uses that and makes it into like a little necklace or something, and that's his token. So that's kind of convenient because he needs to cause an explosion. Lovely. Okay. So they get into the games, and he decides to split from the others so he can look for the mud portals and protect the others, because he feels like the game makers are going to like target him to kill him. The arena is designed to look like an eyeball because the Capitol's always watching.
Totally missed that.
Well, I saw that on the internet, I think.
Oh.
But they just did describe that it was like, eyeball shaped. And I was like, wow, Capitol is always watching. That's crazy. Also, poisonous. Everything in there, from the water to the flowers to the apples on the tree, everything's toxic to them. And he finds this out because he drinks some water from the stream and sees a rabbit on the other side drinking some of it, and then it just dies. And he realizes that everything in there's poison except for the food in the bag that he grabbed when the cannon went off. He like grabbed it when he was running. And then he remembers that he also had some charcoal tablets in there, so he eats them really fast to counteract the poison, but he still gets like really sick and crawls into a bush to hide for the night until it passes. He wakes up the next day to Lulu's voice, which is what we're calling fake Luella, by the way.
Because they can't call her Luella.
No, because she's not Luella, but they can't call her something else because
they don't know what her name is.
They don't know what her name is. They're supposed to be pretending that she's Luella anyway, so they call her Lulu.
But they have kind of found out through her like singing a random song that she's probably from District 11.
Yeah, so she's singing songs. They gave her like all the bread to choose from, and she chose District 11 bread. So that's what they're assuming. So he wakes up the next day to Lulu's voice saying, "Find Haymitch, find Haymitch." And then she says, "Found him." And she just grabs his ankles and pulls him out from under the bush. And he realizes that his like handkerchief got caught on the bush, so his hiding place was really bad. He could have died.
For sure.
The whole time. But thankfully it was just Lulu. And at this point, I'm not totally convinced Lulu's not going to kill him.
I know, because she's got a thing in her ear. And he says, "How'd you know?" And she was like, pointing at her ear. So obviously they told her, find Haymitch, figure out what the fuck he's doing by himself over here.
Yep. And I'm thinking like they're gonna make her do something bad. Something. So I'm like, I'm not trusting her at this point, but whatever. He starts taking care of Lulu because even though she's not Luella, like she's
a person.
She's a person. She's sweet. Like damaged. So and Wyatt, that's the other male tribute, he dies because he's trying to protect her, because he has like a soft spot, like right when the games start, he ends up dying, which is a sad one, because they make you like him in that short amount of time. So he's taking care of her there, and he's like looking for the mud portals at the same time. And Lulu sees some flowers, probably from whatever district she's from, and gets really excited and lays face down in them and sniffs them like super hard. Turns out poison. She's dead. That fast. Dead as hell. Then Haymitch meets up with Ampert, which is Beatty's son. And the two of them find their way into the sublevel A, where the water tank is, because they like... Haymitch like saw some mutts running back in and put a stick in it, and that's how they got back in there. So Hamish is down there attempting to like rig up the tank. When he comes out after planting the device, Ampert is nowhere to be seen. He finds Ampert being eaten by mutt squirrels, a punishment meant for Beatty. Literally picked his bones clean. He was just like a skeleton when the squirrels finished. Um,
And the squirrels didn't go for Haymitch, so they were designed
Yeah.
for Ampert.
these games are like using mutts programmed to only attack a certain person, or they can program them like right at that minute or something maybe, because they didn't try to attack Hamish at all. And I saw somebody online say, because in About a Songbirds and Snakes, like the movie, Snow's hot. Like, he's a hot dude. And people are making like thirst trap edits of him. And they said that the author, what's her name?
Collins.
They said Suzanne Collins wrote in a squirrel for every thirst trap edit she saw of Snow.
Oh my gosh.
So funny. It's terrible. Poor Ampert. He was just a funny little dude. So then you're sad that he goes. The tank explodes. So they did it, flooding the arena, but it doesn't fully disable it. It just starts acting a little crazy, but it didn't work. So Hamish is like determined to finish what he started. He decides to locate the generator, like the backup generator, where Beatty told him it was going to be on the north side. The north side of the map is protected by a hedge maze and like infested by mutt ladybugs that suck blood and explode. So he doesn't make it too far into the maze. Point. And then around that time, Hamish's path collides with like the careers, and they are about to kill him. But then Maisley pops up, appears out of nowhere with a poison dart, saving his life. And so then Hamish and Maisley are hooked up, being little allies. And she is also an interesting character. Like, she's the mean girl of the town when we start out, and at first you're like, gosh, she's such a bitch. But then as you like go on, you're like, oh wait, no, I like her.
She starts to help people.
They explore the perimeter after Hamish convinces her to go north with him, but he's not telling her why. But she kind of gets the vibe that like he's got something to do, but I can't figure out what. That's when they encounter two careers and game makers, not together, but at kind of around the same time. One of the careers and Maisley kill the game makers, and I was like, what? Why are there game makers in there?
I know.
That kind of felt breezed over and random, but they're like mopping something.
They were cleaning something up.
Yeah. So then they don't fight the careers then, so that's good, I guess. But Hamish wants to explore the maze, and Maisley, who's aware that like Hamish is doing something he can't explain, splits from him briefly to get some food. So that's when Hamish finds the end of the area and the generator 100 feet down a cliff at the edge of the arena. He also realizes that there's a force field above the generator, and whatever you throw like bounces off of it and comes back up. Like I think he'd throw like a pebble or something. He can't investigate it further. Well, okay. So I didn't write this down, but like him and Maisley like split up a little, but then they get back together, and then they decide to go their separate ways, right? Because like they're like, one of us has to die in the end. They don't want to be like together when one of them has to die, I guess. I don't know. So he's like looking at the generator and stuff, trying to decide what to do about it, and he hears Maisley scream. And he runs out there and he finds her, and she's being attacked by mutt birds. Her punishment for killing a game maker, just a few pages back or whatever. These things are flamingos with saw blades instead of beaks, which is crazy.
I came up with some crazy mutts this time.
Yeah. After Maisie and the other career die, 3 tributes remain. We've got Welly, a sweet girl from the newcomers. The newcomers is what they're calling like their little,
Everybody other than the careers.
yeah, like their little alliance or big alliance, but now it's not so big. There's only 3 people
Mm-hmm.
left. Welly, so she's like a really sweet, just like, I don't know, 14-year-old or something. She's really young. Hamish and Silka, the last career that's left. Hamish decides to find Welly and kill Silka, making Welly the victor because he's still planning to die at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He never at one point was like, I've got to win these. He's fully planning to just die.
Mm-hmm.
He finds Welly hiding in a tree, malnourished and hurt. Welly begs him not to leave her, and Hamish just promises he'll be right back because he has to go get her something to eat. And Silka finds Welly during that time and decapitates her, cut her literal head off.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Then Hamish and Silka fight. Silka is chasing Hamish into the hedge maze. And at this point, I don't think Hamish is thinking like, oh, I can't, like, I'm trying to win the games. He's just thinking she can't win him because she just cut off a little girl's head.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Now he's just mad about that.
Yeah. So they're fighting, and Silka's chasing Hamish into the hedge maze. They've somehow cut like a path through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they're running through
Yeah,
there.
he blew it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
A path to it.
And Hamish receives like a gut wound. She like cuts his stomach, and his like intestines are almost about to spill out of him.
Mm-hmm.
He's backed into the edge of the arena. Silka throws her axe at him, and Hamish ducks, knowing it's going to bounce off of that force field. And it does, and the axe just comes back and hits Silka straight in the face, chopping her right in the head, making Hamish the victor.
Mm-hmm. But he can like feel his intestines, so he's like, "I'm dying."
Yep. He's
goodbye
like,
world.
There's no victor, basically.
Yeah.
He's,
He's like, at least there's nobody. It's fine.
So knowing he's only got a few seconds left, Hamish realizes that Maisley's token contains parts for another device that could detonate the generator.
Mm-hmm.
So Hamish rigs the device together really fast and throws it at the generator and loses consciousness. Victor of the quarter quail and dying. So that's the end of the games. And Hamish is like, he's passed out. Well, he wakes up in an apartment that they stayed in during the lead up to the Hunger Games.
He woke up in like a hospital first.
Okay. But then maybe they move him there.
And they
Yeah,
like, they were
after spending a few days in a lab, yeah.
Yeah, they were like sewing him up and put one of those pumps that they had on Luella on him, and they were drugging him, and he just slept through it all.
Yeah.
Before he woke up in the apartment.
Mm-hmm. So he's like wounded, alone, but alive. He spends all the days in isolation, healing. After a few days, he's brought to his crowning, and he's crowned the victor. So we're like, whoa.
Weird.
Oh, this is weird. He's terrified about his family's fate. Hamish bends the knee and sucks up to President Snow in like every way he can. He's put in a literal golden cage at the victory parties where he's treated like a pet. They're like feeding him food through the bars, and it's like really demeaning and so different than like the victory tour we saw with Katniss and Peeta. When Hamish is eventually allowed to return home, no one's waiting at the station. He walks the streets of District 12, and
he said it was at like 5 a.m. or
yeah,
something.
it's like 5 a.m. And also, like, after the victory party, Snow put him back in that apartment for like 3 weeks or something, like a long ass time. And the only thing that he was giving him to eat was water or bread and milk. And he was seeing it as like a punishment, basically. Like, I know you drank the milk, so this is all you're getting. So and then he's allowed to go home. No one's waiting at the station. He walks the streets of District 12, like agonized and haunted about what he went through in the games. And he arrives home. It's on fire. It's burning down to the ground. He's screaming. He's trying to like get in there to save his mother and his brother Sid, but they're burning alive. They're dead. And Katniss's parents are there, like trying to like hold him back and stuff. So he's devastated, and Hamish like desperately wants to see Lenore Dove, but turns out, so like when she called him that time, she said she had been arrested, but they were letting her go in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So through the whole games, he was assuming she's fine. She was at home. She wasn't stuck in jail,
Mm-hmm.
but she had been in jail the whole time because she did something silly. Like, oh, she sang,
One
not
of the
silly,
songs
but
she wasn't supposed
she
to.
sang one of the songs she wasn't supposed to on like stage.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's why she got arrested. So she had been in jail this whole time. So he's like waiting for her to be released, and they're telling him, like, don't go up there and cause a scene. You're just gonna make it worse. Like, they're gonna release her. Just wait. And so like eventually she is, maybe like a day and a half later or something, and they meet in the meadow where they always would meet before, and like snuggle,
Give a good kiss really
give
fast.
kisses, play a piano that's in the woods somehow. Um, they reunite, and Lenore Dove says she can finally eat the gumdrops Hamish left for her before he went to the Hunger Games. And I'm like, oh, it's cute. She saved her gumdrops. That's so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But then Hamish realizes, all too late, that instead of the rainbow pack he had left for her, all the gumdrops in the pack are red, President Snow's color. He stops Lenore Dove from eating the rest, but she's already eaten one. And Lenore Dove feels chest pain and collapses. And he's like trying to get her to throw up. He's like asking if she has any charcoal tablets. I don't know why she would have those on her,
Mm-hmm.
but whatever. And so she dies, like
Mm-hmm.
instantly in moments. And we realize, like, when he's trying to get her to throw up, she says, I can't. They've been starving me
Mm-hmm.
that whole time I was in jail.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, I haven't ate. And what'd she say? She either said,
The whole time he was gone.
yeah, like maybe
From
just
whenever
like
she got arrested.
enough to keep her alive.
Yeah.
But ate nothing, basically, and hadn't ate anything at all in like 3 days or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so she
She
can't
got
throw
out
up.
that morning.
Yeah, she had just got out, so she can't throw up. And we realized it's like they did that on purpose. No, starved her on purpose, so she couldn't throw up these gumdrops. And then we realized that Snow has been feeding Hamish bread and milk, the antidote.
Mm-hmm.
So if he had ate the gumdrops to die with her, he couldn't die.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy. So, very sad.
So sad.
Like, poor my sweet baby angel Hamish.
I
So
know.
sad.
I knew she wasn't gonna make it, but
Yeah, but
I also didn't think that his parents were gonna die, or his mom and brother. I just figured, like, by the time that we got to later on Katniss with Hamish, like, they had just died of other causes.
yeah, I wasn't sure. I was like, maybe they were just dead in the house, and he walks in and finds them there. Like, I just knew everybody was gonna die, but I was like, how?
Yeah. And then they were found clutching, their bones were found clutching each other's bodies, so they buried them together.
Mm-hmm.
Dark.
Like, very dark, painful.
Mm-hmm.
Hamish, having lost everyone, turns to sleep medication and alcohol. He gets regularly drunk, seeking the oblivion, haunted by the games and those he lost. He, like, pushes everybody away. He pushes Katniss's parents away, which is maybe why, yeah, it was never mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
It's an excuse to why it was never mentioned, but and then Plutarch Heavensbee eventually arrives for his victory tour to find him at his lowest. He tells Hamish, maybe this wasn't our time, but someone, Katniss, is going to come along and take the capital down.
Mm-hmm.
Until then, they have to build up for her, find an army, and just do what they can.
Mm-hmm.
Hamish says they don't want him because he has nothing left. Plutarch tells him a man who has nothing left to lose is the most powerful man in the rebellion. But he keeps drinking himself into oblivion every day and pushing away all the friends he may have left because of his pain, but also the fear of Snow taking them away too.
Mm-hmm.
He, like, Katniss's parents, like, try, like, all the time, every day, because
They bring him food and sleeping drafts
Yeah.
and stuff.
and eventually he throws something at Katniss's mom,
Mm-hmm.
and Burdock's like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
You hurt my woman, like,
I feel like there was one other friend that said, like, I understand, and they had, like, a tearful goodbye or something.
yeah,
But I don't
something.
remember who.
I don't know. Oh my gosh. And he, like at the funerals and stuff, he sees Maisley's twin sister and yells for her, like Maisley, like he thinks it's her for a split second. Oh, that was so sad.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had really bonded. See, that's the end of that. And then there's an epilogue where we get his point of view, seeing Katniss and Peeta for the first time. Haymitch has never loved anybody else like Lenore Dove. And her geese, that was another thing. She had geese that she like sang to and fed and stuff. Said that, you know, they mated for life, and so did he. Even if it's with her ghost, he thinks Lenore's soul aged with him, and she's waiting on the other side for when his liver eventually gives out. He talks about resisting Katniss and Peeta and how he wanted to keep his walls up, but eventually they brought his walls down, just like they brought down the Capitol. And then, you know, this is after they've brought down the Capitol, obviously. He says he still drinks every day, but like a little less than he used to, so that's good. And that's it. That's the end.
He says something about Katniss being his sweetheart now or something like that. Yeah.
And we get like a little scene with Katniss. She comes to his door and gives him geese eggs. And he like hatches his own little geese. And it's just cute to think of old Haymitch Gray walking around with his little geese. Something interesting of note, Haymitch trained 48 tributes before they were finally able to overthrow the Capitol, and that's how many tributes were in his games. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
And that was Sunrise on the Reaping. It was very good.
Yeah,
5
I liked
stars.
it a lot. I wish everybody didn't die.
I know. Everybody died.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
But that's fine.
It's fine.
There also were a few things about Snow that went back to like songbirds and snakes.
Yeah.
Because Snow said something about him loving not about him loving, but something about his cubby girl. He knew about Haymitch loving a cubby girl and said some intimate details about her that like he wouldn't have known unless. And then Haymitch at some point sees a video.
Yeah, of Lucy Gray singing.
Uh-huh.
Which is like, it's on the TV to the apartment where they're like holding him after the games.
They're torturing him.
They're like torturing him, and they're I mean, not really torturing him, but you know, in a way, psychologically almost. But and it's kind of implied that Snow's putting that on the TV to like taunt him and be like,
even if he didn't do it himself, he ordered somebody to do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't know how to do that.
I don't know. Probably.
Maybe, I don't know. He's got Beatty doing it.
Yeah. But it was sad. It was a really sad book, but I knew it would be. But it was really good. A lot of people were saying it felt like fan fiction because of all the mentions of stuff, but I don't think it felt that way. I think it was good. I think she did a great job.
I think it was really good.
Making stuff up that she didn't think about before she wrote The Hunger Games. I think she did a great job. And I liked all the name dropping.
I liked it too. Even the ones I didn't realize.
Anything else?
What would you rate it?
5 stars.
Yeah?
Yeah. Great book.
Rate it.
No, I loved it. It was really good. I can't wait for the movie. That's going to be super cool.
Yeah. Are they making a movie? Of course they are.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I wonder who will play Haymitch.
That's a big debate.
Other than Henry Cavill, because was that who you were imagining or no?
I was imagining I was imagining Woody Harrelson.
Yeah. Maybe they'll just use Woody Harrelson and they'll like CGI him.
Yeah.
They'll do AI, actually.
There are some good options. Like I've seen people fan cast actors that I do know and actors that I don't know. They're all good options. One thing about me, I'm not about to be butthurt.
I never care.
I don't care.
Who will be Snow. Because obviously that's an old man. And it's supposed to be, he should be 25 years younger.
A lot of people are wanting the actor who played old Snow. He has a son. That would be the perfect age. And also, I think, the guy who played Plutarch has a son, and he looks just like him.
That would be so cool.
That would be so cool. But
do it.
I think the
Are they
guy.
even actors?
Yeah, I think
They're
they
like
are. Yeah.
accountants.
Like, come do this. No, I think they are. But I've seen some really good fan casts, and I'm like, wow,
Mhm.
it'd be really interesting to see who they cast as like all the younger people.
Mhm.
But somebody is gonna be mad about whoever the fuck they pick, and I can't stand it. Like when people get online and just bitch about that, I'm like, please go touch grass. It's not that serious. Aren't you just happy you're getting a movie?
Mhm.
Because I'm always just happy I'm getting a movie.
Mhm. No, nobody's happy.
Nobody's happy. And what's really bothering me right now is the Bella Ramsey hate for The Last of Us. Like, I played both of the games, and no, Bella Ramsey does not look like Ellie from the game, but I don't care. At least you're getting a show, and they're good, and they're a good actress. But people are getting, like, anytime I see like an edit or a clip from the show, I'm like, wow, that was so good. Let me go look. And so I'll look at it, and I'll go to the comments to see what everybody's saying.
Mhm.
And there's just the most vile, disgusting comments about Bella Ramsey on there.
Mhm.
And I'm like, do you people not know that this is an actual human being? Like,
Mhm.
this is a literal person. This isn't some kind of made up fictional character
Mm-mm.
that you can shit on. This is a human being, and I just don't understand it. And like, people are talking about how she, like, they're just shitting on her appearance.
Mhm.
Really, they're not even saying she's a bad actress or saying anything about her acting. They're just talking about the way she looks.
Mhm.
This is a person.
Mhm.
The fuck, dog? Like,
They
get
don't care
a
though.
life. I hate people like that.
Yeah.
And they're just little idiots on their phone with their little fingers, and they think that they can say whatever they want because it's the internet, and just spreading hate for no reason. Like, I feel so strongly about it. I'm pissed off right now, actually.
Sorry. And this isn't even the first time I've heard you mention it.
I know. It just really bothers me.
That's fair.
And they're doing the same thing with the actress who plays Abby. I think her name's Caitlin Denver, something.
Because she's not buff.
Because she's not buff. Like, I get it. Abby in the game is buff. You know what also I get? That it's not fucking real life. And it will be okay.
It will be okay.
Her not being jacked, it doesn't affect anything for me. Like, she's still a great actress. She's doing a great job playing Abby. You know what I can do if I want to see buff Abby?
Play the game.
Turn on my fucking computer and play the game. And that's my TED Talk for the day. Whew. Sorry, got a little fired up and sassy about it. That's okay.
That is fine.
If y'all can be idiots and spout hate on the internet, then I can talk shit about you for it.
Yeah. That's much more beneficial.
And I can call you an idiot and it be okay because you're really, like, being an idiot.
Yeah, they are.
So, live, laugh, love. Okay. Do you have anything else to add?
Mm-mm.
Cool. We're gonna wrap her up. I don't know what the next book's gonna be.
Loosely deciding.
Loosely deciding. We'll let you know
Just on the next pod.
on the next pod or and also on the Instagram. Okay. Bye.
Bye.